All right, Gavin, go ahead and take a seat. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start class. It's exciting that it is Friday. Unfortunately, we are not doing a Friday-type activity like learning history, taking a quick quiz. I'm the only one talking now, or playing Jeopardy or Latin Among Us, but we will soon enough. Soon enough, right? We're done with school for the week until Tuesday. In a mere, 2 hours now? 2.5, 3 hours. It's a beautiful thing, guys. All right, guys, remember, the whole thing this chapter is that when you encounter your third declension nouns, you'll know that you're encountering one of them because you'll be cross-referencing with your vocab on the back of your summary. And then you'll be like, oh, it is third conjugation because I marked that in the margin because Mr. Kevin told me to. And then you flip it over and look at your third conjugation present endings versus the future ones to determine if it's present or future. The imperfect endings for third conjugation are the same as they were for first and second. So that will not be an issue in terms of they are past continuous. But if they're future or present, that is potentially kind of tricky because it feels like there's not so much rhyme or reason to these present and past endings, right? Most of them have an I vowel showing up before the S, the T, the mus, and the tis. But the NT, for instance, has a U. And then the common vowel for future tense is E, except for the really wacky first singular future tense, the I will verb. So it's a two-part kind of like process when you're doing homework for the next couple of weeks. You're checking the verb against our list of verbs that are third conjugation versus not third, and then you're flipping back to your chart to see if they're present or future. Or maybe they're just imperfect. Elijah?
Will we have a translation quiz on like some of the sentences?
Not these sentences. Well, the homework that we have next week when we come back on Tuesday, that will be the sentences I draw from for a quiz probably that Friday, and we'll probably play Jeopardy that Thursday. Who wants to read number 1 on Tuesday? I mean Wednesday, but it's actually Friday. Bo.
Wait, my answer?
Latin first, and then we can share answers.
Tempor nostra nuxant mala vita massa magna.
Very good. Do you want to share your translation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our times are now bad. Our vice is great.
Very good. That sounds perfect. This one's pretty straightforward. There's only so much you could do with it in terms of different types of translation. Does anybody else want to share? Isaiah?
Number 1, right?
Yep.
They were down. Now our people type great hours.
Say it again.
Mine makes no sense, so I'm sorry. Anyway, they will now our evil time great hours. I've got all my Latin stuff except my homework.
Okay, so let's simplify. We got to simplify that a lot to get closer to what Bo had. So what is the subject here, Nick? Tempora? Yeah, definitely, right? So tempora is from tempus temporis, meaning time. One of the new third declension nouns we got last chapter. Here it is in what Nick believes to be the nominative plural form, right? Only tempus, carmen, corpus, and nomen are neuter in the third declension. So those 4 words get A's for their endings in the nominative plural and the accusative plural. And so this could be a direct object, but there's no reason for us to think that it's not just the subject right now. And it's going with noster, nostra, nostrum. I had a spiel for my first 2 periods today. Let me reiterate it, and I'll keep it brief. When you guys come in to check homework or do spot translations, and you're seeing words that you don't know, like raise your hand in here if you don't know what nostra means. Okay, that's fine. It's fine to not know that, but you need to do something about it. You need to be proactive. You can't just sit there and hear from me or when your classmate that it means hour, and that nunc means now, and just kind of like nod your head and stare off into the middle distance and think, okay, now I know noster, nostra, nostrum. You probably don't. So you need to have a part of your Latin notebook or folder that is dedicated to the writing down of vocabulary words that you encounter in class throughout the week that you don't know. Because if you write them down, at least there's a better chance that it'll stick in your mind than if you just sit there. So I might start enforcing this by kind of having you guys write words down on what we call vocab refresher sheets that you'll turn in at the end of the week so that I can see that you are writing down the words you don't know. But I'd rather not do that because it is somewhat wasteful of LTA's resources. So next time you are at a Barnes & Noble, a Target, a Walmart, a Safeway, a Super, what's it called, thing? King Super, which we don't have in the South. We don't have Safeways either, to ask your mother, father, or parental figure to pick you up one of those marble-bound composition notebooks, right? The journals. And you can decorate the front and say, this is my Latin vocabulary, journal. And every time you encounter a word like noster, noster, nostrum that you don't know, you write it down in that journal, Bo. If you're not doing that, you're going to continue to not know a lot of our words. And of course, you guys know by now, we add 15-ish words every 2 weeks. So picture by the end of the year, we have well over 200-300 words by then. If you don't know, say half of them, then you're constantly dealing with not knowing vocabulary. So guys, do yourself a favor and be proactive about writing down that vocabulary. If you have a list going of words you don't know or other grammar notes you want to take, when you're doing your homework, instead of having to flip back and forth to the dictionary in the back of the Latin textbook over and over again, you can instead just consult your little journal of words you ran into in the previous weeks, and maybe the word will be there and you'll be able to move forward more quickly with your homework translations. Does anybody in here already have a vocabulary folder or binder or notebook? A few people do. Incredible, incredible. So that's good too. If you have all the summaries and you have that super summary of chapter 1 through 4 that I gave you guys on day 2, then maybe you don't need this so much, but it still would be a good idea because you don't always want to have to flip through. At this point, that's 5-6 pages worth of summaries. So instead of having to flip through all of those, you could just have a kind of more condensed set of words where it's oh, I keep running into noster and I keep not knowing what noster means. It means hour. I wrote it at the top of my little dedicated vocabulary thing, all playing cards to be put away. And if you guys ever want me to stop and give you the actual official dictionary entry for a word, I will. For the noster here, it's noster, noster, nostrum. It's an ADG adjective. It means hour. Anyway, Elijah.
Is second period a small class?
That is the smallest class. No. Third period is the smallest class. Second is technically the biggest. Once all the e-learners come back, it'll be too big. 8th grade.
Wait, how did the smallest class get the worst?
That's a good question. No. First period got the. Oh well, yeah, they're slightly the worst. Third period, yeah.
And isn't there only 4 people in their class?
No, that's next period. That's 6th period. They don't really count the homework orders. All right, our times now and then soon. Soon is something you need to know. What does soon mean to anyone? It's literally on the board. Matthew.
They are.
Yeah, so it does mean they are, but we don't need they here. That's why Nevaeh started her translation with they are, because she was thinking oh, well, they, okay. You said they. But you must have gotten the they from the fact you knew that we had a third person plural verb. But we don't actually need any kind of pronoun here because we do have a nominative plural. Remember, if your verb is third, singular, or plural, you likely have a nominative noun, which is your subject. It's only when you don't that you'd actually use he, she, or it or they. In this case, we have a nominative plural. That is going to be our they. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but we don't actually need a pronoun because we do have a subject spelled out in the actual Latin. So it's not one of those instances where the subject is just living inside of a verb ending, like when it's first or second person. So our times now are, they is are, right? It's from sum esse. Sum esse, that means to be. We conjugate be a lot in English, so we don't want to say times be. We don't want to say times am, times is. We want to say times are. That's what sounds good to English speakers because that's how it should be grammatically, grammar-wise. Nevaeh?
So, I'm thinking of this is nothing to do with the eyes and Mark, you should make a Latin Roman inspired.
Yeah, you can put them in a toga, I guess. It's true. We're definitely gonna play Latin Among Us on Ides of March if it's a school day. It might not be a school day. I can check right now.
On
Find out.
what in March?
It's the day Julius Caesar got killed, the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March, March 15th. Our times now are evil. So again, that's another word. If you don't know that Malus Mala means evil, you needed to know that a while ago. So you should do something about it. Write it down somewhere. Abby, how can you do that? Wow, okay, I can't do that kind of math. Cool, it'll be Monday, so we'll probably be here. All right, our times now are bad or evil, and then this is not Vitium. A lot of people think it's Vitium. Or Vitia rather, Vita. Ooh. A lot of people think it's Vita. It's actually from Vitium, a neuter second declension noun from chapter 4 that ends in um in its nominative singular, like all neuter second declension nouns, but ends in a in the nominative plural. Though, final warning. So this is crimes. And just like our times has Nostra, crimes has Nostra too. So it's our crimes, comma, great. So grammar-wise, this is not a tricky sentence. I'm not color-coding anything because this is literally just a series of subjects, adjectives, and verbs and adverbs. There's no other nouns in any case other than nominative. But there's like one thing going on with the fact that sunt is kind of being repeated. Like it shows up here, like our times now are bad. And then our crimes, comma, great. What they mean is our crimes are great, but we don't actually have to repeat the R in the English, just like we don't have to repeat sunt in the Latin, or they don't repeat sunt in the Latin. So there's kind of an applied sunt there. Final warning for people who have nothing on their desk, I will give you a detention form in the next minute if you don't put something on your desk. It is month 3. I think you guys know that I'm not okay with students being that passive and lazy in my class, mostly because it sounds really boring to me. All right, any questions on this one? Actually, there's probably several. If you stumbled on the blanks, the first few blanks, I don't blame you. I haven't really taught the types of adjectives yet this year. It came up yesterday, but I didn't like stress that you needed to write it down or anything. There are 3 types of adjectives in languages. There's attributive ones, where that's when an adjective is just like right next to the noun and it's like directly modifying the noun, as in the good student, bonus, and scipulus. There's predicate adjectives. Predicate meaning that's a fancy word for verb, where an adjective is modifying a noun by way of a verb, like the student is good, versus the attributive just good student. And the third type is when an adjective functions as a noun, as in the good, die, young. So we've actually seen those a good bit. But so mala here is a predicate adjective, because it's like our times are bad. Whereas nostra is an attributive adjective that is just directly modifying tempora. Abby?
I said that.
A helping verb? So yeah, they're not verbs, they're actually adjectives, yeah. There aren't really too many helping verbs in Latin. There's a ton in English. So we translate certain Latin verbs with helping verbs. Like when we have to translate a Latin verb that's in the future tense, we use will. Will would count as a helping verb. But Latin itself, like they kind of got away with not really having helping verbs in their language and just having what's called inflectional endings, like the verb ends, right? That's their version of putting a verb in the future or past tense instead of using helping verbs in English like was, were, and would. English is obsessed with word order and helping verbs because it is a garbage language. Tempora is a nominative plural. It is the subject here. It is not the accusative plural like nomina was in that translation sentence yesterday or Friday. And it's a neuter noun just like corpus, carmen, and nomen. Those are the 4 neuter third declension nouns this chapter. Who can read? Number 2, Nevaeh. Quare soror mea exori tuae libra scribit. Who wants to share their translations of this one? Let's hear from Bo, Elijah, Nevaeh, and
At the same time, so we open a portal.
no, we'll do that with Latin later. But Bo, what'd you get?
Why did my sister write a letter to your wife?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Elijah?
What does my sister write about literature?
Close. You're thinking of quid when you say what. This is more like why. But you're close, Nevaeh.
Why my wife write letters to me?
So you're just kind of missing some of the helping verbs I was just talking about. You're close, but it's like you need like some of the extra like connective grammar tissue to make it sound like good grammar. Abby?
Why does my
Pretty good, pretty good. Let's see, Jasmine. Close, but here Quare is actually not going to be there for. How do we decide if Quare is why or therefore here? We just have to look at the end of the sentence and see there's a question mark, and then we should understand that it's probably going to be why, like we're asking a question. Pierce, you can go if you need to. Elizabeth? Interesting. So you kind of thought these were going together, my sister and your wife.
Wait, that was sister.
Yes, Aurora is sister. It's a new word. It's on the back of your summary that you got yesterday. Kaden, did you want to share? Close, but you did what Jasmine did where you thought Quare was there for. So Quare is going to be why. And this is exactly what I want to talk about right now is what Nevaeh, what's up, Parker? Go! This is what Nevaeh ran into just now, is that a question in Latin, they can be hard to get started, the translations of questions in Latin. So even when we have an interrogative pronoun, which those are words like quare, why, what else, quid, what, or what's the other one, the when, ubi. Even when we start with words like that, we still have trouble actually starting the translation. But go ahead and move to this desk over here by the. Okay, so if it happens one more time, one of you is going to instantly, without arguing, move to that desk over here. All right, so it's kind of hard to start off your translation of a question in Latin. What you want to do, even if you have these interrogative words like why or when or what, you're going to want to look at the end, Stephen, of your sentence, because that's probably where your verb is, and figure out the tense of the verb. Scribit here is just good old present tense. You might have thought it was future, because it looks like first and second conjugation future bogus bit. But if you think about it, there's actually a B at the end of the stem. It's already ending with B. So this is just present. Scribit is like right. So, but it, like say it was imperfect, scribe bot, you would have started your sentence like why was my sister verbing. And those future scribet would be why will my sister verb. In this case, it's just present. In which case, these are some of the words that would have helped Nevaeh with her translation. Is, or if the subject is plural, are. Do or does works too, and I heard someone say did. Did kind of implies past tense, so you actually don't want to quite use did, but it's cool that you thought of using it, because that's almost a great idea. But do or does is a little better. Is are is great. So how about why is my sister ... verbing? So soror is our new word that means sister. It's clearly feminine, so it's going to get first declension nominative feminine ending for its adjective buddy, mea. It's not just why is the sister, why is my sister. We see auxiliary 2i, and we freak out because we haven't seen auxiliary yet. We remember that Mr. Calinell literally told us not to worry about uxor, like it wouldn't ever show up. He lied. It's showing up now. I do think this is the only time we'll ever see it again. This is it, and like that'll be it. But anyway, like we don't know what to do with it yet. Let's keep moving. We know the sister is writing, but like, what is she writing? She's writing a direct object, right? So what is our direct object? What's our direct object? It's letters. That was the direct object in the translation sentence on the quiz, right? Will they write letters to the king and queen, right, Ace? So what case is literos, Mr. King? Gavin?
No, I was asking a question. What is orator?
It means orator. What's the case of literos, Nick? It's accusative. This is good on first declension accusative. I know it's kind of low right now. It's first declension accusative plural. So that's what she's writing. She's writing the letters. And if we're writing letters, we're probably writing letters blank a person, right? So what would your wife need to be case-wise for us to be able to whip out two? Yeah, she would be dative for us to be able to whip out the preposition two. Yeah. So we could get away with not using the preposition to if we say, "Why is my sister writing your wife letters?" That's a way of not using to, right? Just like I throw Jimmy the ball. Jimmy's not the direct object being thrown. I'm throwing him a direct object, and I can throw it to him without using the preposition to if I want, because we just understand that word order in English, that you can verb an indirect object a direct object, meaning I can give a gift. I can give a person a direct object. I can give an indirect object, dative person, a direct object. What's that, Kira? Scrivet means right. So, guys, watch this, because I think sometimes this maybe helps visually. All eyes up here. Why present tense is, because it's present tense, my sister writing, back to the verb to get the actual, like, what it really means. Eyes up here, letters to your sister. A lot of people weren't watching that. So all of you who didn't see that with your eyeballs need to go speak to Mr. Killingsworth and ask him to transfer you to Falcon Middle, please. Any questions on this one? All right, so literos was an accusative plural, direct object, first declension. Auxiliary was a dative singular indirect object, third declension. Scriba is a third singular present from the third conjugation. Jaden? Wife. So yeah, this is weird, right? But this is like we saw regani, regique, where rex regis had this dative third declension ending. So hopefully we remember that uxor, exorus, even though we've never seen it before. If we got it last chapter, it was one of our third declension nouns. So the long I means it's dative. So it's bizarre that it's going next to an adjective that has this AE ending. But we're starting to get used to that, right? Because AE is truly horrible, but it can be the thing that auxiliary is. Auxiliary can only be dative, where 2i could have been like a few different things, but if it's right next to auxiliary, there's no reason for us to think more than just stopping at like, oh, it's probably also dative so that it can go with auxiliary. It's your wife. My sister, your wife. It's a little hard that there's like, there's like two different adjectives in there, so it makes it a little like, people have been getting those mixed up today. But Maya's right next to soror, so that's one reason why you should think it should be going with soror. And they're agreeing, right? Maya and soror are both nominative singular. These are both dative singular. They both can be. And then scribo is third conjugation. So you might have been like looking at the summary, like, oh, is it present? Is it future? Is this the thing that Mr. Carmelo warned me about? These are the future endings for third conj right here. And no, it is not future. That would be scribet with an E. It is scribit with an I. There are extra copies of the homework on the white table. So for those of you who still don't have anything on your desk, you need to get it right now before something really bad happens. Who can read? Number 2. Pierce to the left corner. Very good. Who wants to share their translation of this one? Let's hear from Bo, Alike, Finn, and Abby. Bo.
The tyrant will be the people out of your land. Yeah.
Excellent. Elijah?
You lead the. Sorry. You lead the foolish people into the tridents from earth.
Interesting. I think you saw Vestra, which does mean your, and you thought it could somehow be the subject of you. You're close, so you're close. Pierce? Close, but Terra actually won't be the direct object here. And these three words aren't actually going together. They're actually like Tyrannus and Populum are doing different things. Abby? Close. The only thing we need to fix to make the second one right is apply Stultus to Populum, not Tyrannus. If it was going with Tyrannus, it'd be Tyrannus Stultus. Okay, so we need to watch that corner, Ace and Kira. Final warning. So what is the subject here, Parker? Yeah, it's just a tyrant, right? It's the first noun we're seeing. He's nominative singular from the second declension. So we're starting off the tyrant. And then Michael or Josh or Kira, what's the case of Populum?
It is.
The Tyranus is nominative subject. What is populum? It's running right into populum.
It's accusative.
Yeah, so it's what kind of object, Matthew? What kind of object if it's accusative? It's a direct object. So guys, what we have here is our subject butting right up against our direct object, and we should also extrapolate at this point that a populum has an adjective buddy right next to it that has the same ending. That's easy to tell, right? Good old second declension nouns, it's not hard to tell if an adjective is going with them. That's only happening for third declension nouns, right? Like when we have like may I, auxiliary. But here, it's like we can just visually tell they go together. So this is not difficult, or it shouldn't be. Our subject running into a direct object is actually very typical. What do we need between them? We're not just going to translate the tyrant, comma, the people. If the tyrant will what? Yes, exactly. I like the way you said that. It needs to be verbing a direct object. So let's like keep moving through the sentence, and our verb is right where it usually is at the end. It's duck at. It's actually like duquette. So what tense is duquette? Felicity or ace? Not imperfect. That'd be duquette bot. Felicity, what do you think? It's actually future. If it was present, because this is when you were gonna say future.
It's future third person singular.
It's this guy. Yeah, it is third singular. So if it was present, because it's third conjugation, just like scribo is, it would get the it for present third singular, whereas it gets the et for future singular. So this is why the tyrant will lead. It's literally just that e making it future tense, which is kind of complicated, but that's what we're doing this chapter is we're getting used to that. So our third conjugation verbs, it's scribo, to write, duco, to lead, disco, to learn, linko, to conquer, ago, to do, or to lead or spin or make, no, not make, and gero, to carry out or wage. A tyrant will lead the direct object. Right now we're ready for a direct object, not just the people, but the foolish people. And then A is short for what new ablative, Gavin, Bo, or Elijah?
What was the question?
What's the last letter in the alphabet?
A.
Z.
A.
Yes. So is a shortened form of just X here. And X we're going to translate as from or out from. Okay. So that's how we're going to take it. And then what does terra vestra mean? Gav, jazz, or jade?
That was weird. You were my. Wait,
What kind of terra? What?
why are Latin synonyms so poetic?
Okay, that's a good idea. Nevaeh is picking up on. I'm glad you're using the word poetic and not stilted or kind of awkward. In the textbook, they're prepping us to read 2,000-year-old long dead people's writings that tend to be kind of poetic and a little stuffy. So a lot of the sentences sound like things that people like Cicero or Virgil or Ovid would write. Once you get up to around chapter 20, or Julius Caesar, once you get near chapter 20, you will find out about poets like Catullus and Ovid. In fact, there already was a Catullus poet that we read last year. We should probably read it again. But there's actually a lot of humorous Latin writing, but it does tend to be a little more serious and poetic, though a lot of it is actually pretty goofy and funny if we're talking Catullus and Ovid, or maybe even Martial or some of the the comedy writers like Plautus, my good friend Plautus. Huh? Yeah, it's also a guy's name. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a name. Math? You? Good, yeah. What is that? Yes. So we're going to lead the foolish people from or out of or out from. Your Earth is a little awkward sounding. It makes it sound like we're talking about like golems or like people who like live in like caves. So let's say land. That makes it sound like they're leading people out of a country. Pierce, get on out of here, buddy. Okay, I actually got it right this time. Okay, you can always tell me if I'm not getting it right. Populum is an accusative direct object from the second declension. Terra is an ablative singular object of A. First declension. Duquette was third singular. Future, third conjugation.
Wait, how do you know that's going to be happening from the future? You can't, like, this people. Oh my gosh. What if the Romans could, like, tell the teacher.
That's the beauty of grammar. Grammar can break the bounds of time and space and express things that cannot be and will not be and might not ever be. Who can read number 3?
You need
Ben.
to all do it out.
Yes, Ben, Keegan, and Matthew,
Number 4.
and Caden are going to read number 4. And 3, 2, anyone can join in. 1, 0. That was pretty good. Y'all might have opened a portal to another world, but it is a good time to do that. We have a full moon Halloween on Saturday, so that's kind of exciting. This is the first time Halloween's on a Saturday in a long time, right? So that was impressive, guys. We kind of got off. What? There's a second. This is the second full moon of the month. Apparently, there was one on the 1st and there's one on the 31st. So that's pretty rare. It might not sound impressive, but it is indeed. Because like full moons happen every month, you know. But usually a full moon's like if it's even happening on the 2nd day of the month, that means the last time it happened was like not, or the next time it'll happen, it'll be in the next month.
That's too complicated.
It's not that complicated. But like if it happens right on the 1st, then it can, and it's a long month, it can also happen on the 31st, and that is when interesting things happen. And TikTok witches get very busy, if you know what I'm saying. So, Ubi is going to be when or where. It's usually going to be when, though. So it's when, and then we see a word that means enough. And then just like in number 1, we have a question happening here. So we want to understand the tense of our verb, which in this case is at the end like it usually is, and that is erit. Erit is the future tense version of s. S means is, so erit is just will be. So when, will, enough, how should we translate rationis? Animorum quat. Remember, animorum quat just means that there's an et happening between rationis and animorum. So it's going with ratio. Not quite rations, actually. Nevaeh?
English is, it doesn't go, we don't go like this. We'll listen.
To me, it's like almost like how we use commas. I mean, I know commas are happening before words, but it's a way of like listing things without actually having a word, like and separating them. Because this doesn't quite count as a word that's quet. It's called an enclitic. It's like an ending. It's like a suffix, basically. Yeah, anymore quet. I like saying it. Quet, does it? So, we should translate ratio, rationis as reason or account. So this is going to be when will enough reason, and rather, animorum? How should we translate animorum, guys? Ryan, how should we translate animorum here?
You translate more.
Yeah, high spirits, courage, or pride is perfect. So I get deep into this whole, like, this one's really hard because I kind of want people to know that they can use their here. I call it the Dorothy and Oz construction. But honestly, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it this way where we don't use there. We say when will enough reason and courage be in men. But I like there is no place like home expletive construction is what we call it in grammar, where we say when will there be enough. That way we can get the be in the mix early and we don't have to wait to get the be all the way at the end. So those are your two options basically. I like this one a little better, but I think this is the only one that you guys were actually equipped to arrive at on your own. Nevaeh? Good point. And then also, guys, yeah, animus, animi is spirit, mind, or soul in the singular. But like Ryan remembers, in the plural, it's more like courage or pride. And then, what case is hominibus, anyone? Ben, Pierce, Jaden, Lily, what case is hominibus? Whoops. No, it's ablative, right? That's why I made it green, so I kind of gave it away without covering it up. But it's the object of in hominibus, in humans, in men, or whatever, however you want to translate it. Anytime in has an object, buddy, that object will be ablative, and I'll make it green. Rationis and animorum are genitive, so you can translate this like enough of reason, but that sounds a bit awkward, right? We always use of for the genitive, but that sounds kind of awkward here, so you might actually just want to axe the of, but you should still know that rationis is third declension genitive, and enamorum quet is second declension genitive plural. Plenus, meaning full, always goes with the genitive, like full of a genitive, where satis will also go with the genitive a lot, right, Bo? And usually that's going to be enough of something, but here, enough of reason sounds weird. So let's just say enough reason and courage. And men. Any questiones about this? Rationis is genitive, third sing, third declension. Homanibus is ablative object of in, third declension. Eridus, third singular, future. Elizabeth. Oh my gosh. Oh my. No. That can't be right. That's not right. That's not right at all. It's not okay. Do we still have? See, today they're not kicking us off. That's weird. I don't know. We got time. Where did my thing go? But yeah, they're not kicking us off. Malachi's got his camera off, so I was gonna say hi, but it's fine. But yeah, some days they decide to kick me off. It's Malachi. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Some days they decide to kick me off, and this day they're not doing it. It's really weird. Super random. I guess this is called a partitive genitive, but I would never ask about that on a quiz. Don't do that. All right, don't we have one more? We did this one yesterday? But we didn't even do this yesterday at all? Dang, we're slow in this class. All right, guys, let's speed trans. Just chill out, guys. Okay, speed translate. Say it if you know it. I will guide your eye. Sorry, Malachi. You won't be like. You'll just hear them. You won't quite. Well, let's see. You still won't see me well if I do this. There are sometimes limitations to the share screen. The screen. Oh no, that's not going to help at all. Okay, guys. Focus. Ace. What does copia mean? It's a new word. Supply. Supply. What case are both of these? Yeah, good. So supply of. Everyone forgets varus, vera, verum. What does it mean? No, it means true. So I thought I put it somewhere on here. Varus, vera, verum. That is something you should add to the vocab journal that you should be making at this point. It means true. It doesn't mean your. Don't get it mixed up with vester, vestra, vestrum. It means true, like verify. So supply of true virtue. That looks direct object. Let's skip it. Anyone? Pacharat. If anyone could say this out loud, that would impress them. Starts with a C.
Okay. Copia.
Is that what you're going to say? Okay, so Jaden and Ryan know that this is could. Very good. So supply of true virtue could.
Superhero.
Be above literally, but surpass or overcome is better. Overcome.
Many culprits.
Not culprits. We get the word culprit from it.
Culture.
Mea culpa means, oh, that just then, that was my fault. Okay, so my many faults was the direct object. Supply of true virtue could overcome many faults. Vera is an adjective. Here it's an attributive one, meaning it's just directly modifying virtutis. I don't know how Nevaeh figured out that they're both genitive. When one is first, one is third. That's some 3D chess kind of stuff. Virtutis is genitive, singular, genitive, a description. I would never ask about that. It is third declension, third sing, imperf. Those are the adjective types. Okay, guys, follow my pointer. In a free
state.
we not there, not Aldeo. Oh, this one's hard. What happens? You blank money once you get it. You get a lot of money and then you blank it. We were spending our youth. Okay, this is hard, guys. So Ago Agara, I hinted at this yesterday. It's really open-ended. Stop talking, Kira. Anybody else who is? Ago Agara, it's often do or act. But if you think about it, we use do in a lot of different ways in English. When the object is a period of time, though, it can be past or spend. So that's pretty weird. So you need to be like kind of prepared for that. So you think about it in English, we use the verb spend when we're talking about spending money and spending time. Two pretty different things, right? But that's how we use the verb spend. So yeah, we were spending our youth. Okay, guys, let's do one more. But who? Who? We. Is it just Nevaeh that knows must means we as a subject? So we. But guys, let me ask you: have we ever seen DeBeo as to owe, as an owe money? I don't think we have. I think we've seen it a lot as should. So we never. King, yeah, that one's king. Guys, that just reminds me, do we have Numquam? No, we do not. So let's take out our summaries. We need to add 2 words that somehow I typoed out of existence on the summary. So get your summary out. No. Y'all need to know these 2 words. They're very good words. Very good words. How do I? Okay, I don't know how to make the camera stop. I don't need the camera anymore, but oh well. Yeah, y'all should listen to Ace. Y'all really should listen to Ace right now. Yes. All right, this is important, guys. I typoed, and now we have to make a correction. And my PowerPoint is laggy, crazy. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Here we go. Internet kids, y'all should do this too, but I will add the corrected version of this on Tuesday's notebook next Tuesday. So guys, this is an adverb, numquam. Let's add it in this space right here, an ADV, and it means never. And we have another adverb, tomen. And tomen means nevertheless, which isn't nevertheless a weird word. It's just 3 separate words squished together. It could also mean still if you just want to write a monosyllabic word instead of one that has 4. Yes, we can. But did everyone get this?
Yes.
Jimothy Everett Catalanella.
You get birth?
Guys, raise your hand if this one's your favorite. Only a couple. So this one's okay. So yes, a lot of you don't like him, but Keegan's standing up for him. Jaden and Parker like him. Raise your hand if you like the leader, the oldest cousin. Yeah, a lot of people like him. He looks angry. Who likes this one from Final Fantasy VII?
He's also there.
So they're kind of tied. They're borderline tied. Yeah, you got blue eyes. Guys, which one do you want to see as our host for November? Raise your hand if you want Ninja Jimmy to show up in November. So, okay, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. Raise your hand if you want Beef James. No. Raise your hand if you want White Mage Jimmy. A couple people like him. Raise your hand if you just want Natural Jimmy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 7. What did I say for Ninja? So, okay, y'all want to see Natural. What about Dancer Jimmy? Dancer, interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now, Dancer, Natural, and Ninja are kind of tied.
Wait, take mine, Mr. Carmelo. Take mine off Natural, put it onto Dancer.
Okay, so it looks like Dancer is winning slightly. You want Ninja? I think Dancer, Ninja, and Natural can show up.
There's a cowboy one.
Yeah, no, that's actually Black Mage with a weird thing. Oh, that's a Red Mage. That's called a Red Mage. He's not down here.
What are those two?
That's the, I can't really, that might be Beastmaster. Who wants this guy to take over for?
No! You say yes.
Go back to Kuko.
obviously we're kind of done for today. Malachi, do you have any thoughts? No. Does anybody have plans for their 5-day weekend? Guys, until the bell rings, which is any second, let's share them and all hear them at the same time by not talking. Jaden, what are you doing over the 5-day weekend? Sleepover. It's even. Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's exciting. Pierce, y'all are bad at this. All right. Bye, Malachi. Have a good long weekend. They're not cooperative enough for us all to share. Y'all say goodbye to Malachi.